My name's John. I've known Andrew for almost 10 years now, since my first year in college. And, well, all of us knew Andrew before he started going to Grace on campus, right? And in many ways he changed, for the better, of course. But I think some things have always been a part of Andrew. He's always been very passionate about everything he does. Strong conviction, like you guys all say. He's always been a very, very smart man, very inspirational, and very handsome, right? Somewhere in Monterey Park, there is a calendar floating around of him posing and but when he did it with strong conviction. There was a time when I wasn't doing so well in school, and Andrew, that was when he started studying a lot. We were both engineers. Anyway, he helped me a lot during that time. I don't know if you know that, but he helped me a lot, and my grades went up a lot. But but engineering's tough. But he was one of the ones that helped me believe in myself. Helped me know that I can do it too. Of course, he graduated with better grades than me. He ended up working at Motorola, and getting married, and starting a family. But when he transitioned to that part of his life, he did it with conviction too. Whole bar, all out. And now that he's fighting his cancer, anybody that's read his blog knows that he's taking it head on, and he's fighting it with all that he has. And that also is very inspirational. So, thank you, Andrew.
I was going to say, he is a handsome man, but he has terrible penmanship. The story that he used to tell us about when he had to sign this poster and we'll have someone else sign it for him so he could send it out to his band. I've seen Andrew, he's seen me at our lows. I see him at his high. You have yet to see my high. But I'm very proud of you, how far you've come. You have 2 kids, you have your wife next to you. You're very mature. This is awesome. Just really proud of you, and I think you give a lot of hope to a lot of people that still haven't gotten there yet. Know that they still can.
Yeah, I want to talk about Andrew a little bit. My name is Mike. A lot of you guys know me as Sung. I also met Andrew probably like one of the first days at UCLA, and I also remember how good looking he was. I remember, actually, it's a funny story. Still is, definitely. And I remember that I was with like 3 girls, and I met Andrew, and then the 3 girls went off with Andrew. and that's the first memory I had of Andrew. I think since then I've always been like a poser of Andrew, trying to follow him around and be like him. But I think it's really helped me out a lot in my life. And I wanted to say, Andrew, that you've changed my life a lot. Like Andrew, I was a really bad kid before, and I had a very low point in my life when I was living with Andrew. And it was a low point in my life, and I was fortunate enough to live with Andrew, and that's when he began to change his life around. And I remember that he was, my friends were telling me, oh, Andrew's going to church now, he's become a Christian, and something about that just kind of inspired me. And I don't know if you remember this, Andrew, but when I also, wanted to turn my life around, we went out to lunch that time, went to Mishima, and this was actually after I'd come out of jail. I had like 2 felonies. I was about to get kicked out from UCLA. It was a really bad point in my life, and I think I told to Andrew, I confessed to Andrew, I said, I want to change my life around, and I want to go to med school. And when I told this to the advisors at UCLA, they laughed at me. But Andrew prayed for me, and I remember that. And I was really able to turn my life around because of Andrew just following his lead. And I told you that at the time. And right now I'm in medical school, and I'm actually taking a year to study head and neck cancer right now, and I'm hoping to help people with cancer, head and neck cancer, in the future. We're doing some trials, and I really wanted to say, Andrew, that you're really influential. Reading your blog through medical school helped me out. I know there's a lot of other medical students, and it can be tough in medical school. And I faced tough times where I wanted to kill myself, times when I didn't want to go on, times when I just wanted to give up. And a lot of those times I read your blog, and you really inspired me. And just want to tell AJ and Gracie, if they're watching this one day, that how great of a person Andrew is. And Andrew is just the most influential, greatest person I've met at UCLA, and I'm glad I became his friend. I'm glad I lived with you that 1 year, even if it was a short period of time. I think you really helped turn my life around. Thanks, Andrew.
I actually met Andrew through my roommate in college, our first year. My roommate's late, but he's consistently late, so. I remember the first thing I thought about Andrew was, how did that Chinese guy get the last name Mark? And I remember I asked him before, and he gave me this long story. And it's been quite some time, and I came here and I was planning to tell about the amp stories, but I guess everybody told about the amp stories. But my roommate and Andrew, they hung out a lot, and we had a lot of amps. We lived right across the street from or the closest apartment you can to UCLA, to the field. And I guess when Andrew couldn't sleep, he'd go run. But he'd park his car at our apartment, and then he'd come up with the box like at 2 in the morning, drop it off, and leave. And nobody really wanted to tell him. We didn't really like this stuff. we were all econ majors, and we didn't really try too hard at that point in our lives. So we didn't really need it to study. And, but after college, I moved out to DC, and I worked for the government, so I got off really early, and it's true. So I think it was like 3 in the afternoon, I get a call from Andrew. And he was like, hey, I got your number, and I'm in DC right now. I would kind of want to meet up with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was just like, I haven't talked to Andrew since I graduated. And I was like, whoa, what have you been up to? And he's like, oh, I got engaged. And I was like, oh, he got engaged. And I remember, so Andrew sort of gave me directions to his brother's house. And his brother looks just like him, by the way. But I remember I hung up with Andrew, and I called my roommate, and I was like, what's this guy thinking? He's only 22, why is he getting married so early? And, don't laugh, this is a good part of the story. And I remember, so when I was driving there, me and my roommate were just like, yeah, what's this thing? He's 22 years old, he doesn't have a job yet, but he got engaged. And, and he was, I think he was interviewing or something in the DC area. So, I went to his brother's apartment, his brother wasn't home, and he was telling me about his motorcycle helmet that his brother had. And at that point, Andrew had this black Integra that he really loved, and this motorcycle that he rode around with some. And that black Integra, he designed their own stereo system or something in the back. It was too complicated, but he really liked to explain to you. And so, I was talking to him about, because his brother rode a bike, about his bike, and he was like, I sold it. And I thought it was really awkward because, that was he was really into riding his bike and fixing up his car, and then I was like, why'd you sell it? And he was like, well, I kind of needed, I think it was a bike or the car. Right. No, but I think he told me, I sold it because I needed the money to buy a ring for Grace to get married, and I was just like, wow. And then I remember we went to eat buffet, and then I kept on thinking about wow, because at that point in our lives, I don't think I thought that far into life. And then I remember dropping him off, and then driving home and calling my roommate again. I'm like, hey man, I think it's probably a pretty good idea for Andrew to get married. And then a few months later, I got to meet Grace. They both came out to DC, and I think we were at Starbucks next to. Yeah, I think we were in Starbucks, and we got to chat, and we were just like, wow. But I think Andrew, everyone's been reading your blog, and your faith is just amazing to all of us. It's a good testimony for us.
Francis, I'm Andrew. Uncle. And one of the current themes I keep hearing is naughty. I can attest to that to some extent. So I remember an event that I had lived out here in Los Angeles. I would visit them during the holidays. And I remember it was a big get-together similar to that, and we all took our shoes off, similar to this event. And, well, Andrew hid my shoes. And I just couldn't leave that event. And I was looking around for my shoes, and this guy had a grin on his face. Ended up, after 3 hours of staying later, then he admitted that he stole my shoes. Hid them. So, Andrew, when I leave, if my shoes aren't there, I know who to look for. No, Andrew, I'm really proud of you. You touched our lives in your family. And just hearing from all your friends in the gathering here, of all the people that are here and how they talk so fondly of you, tells me that, you're really quite a character, you have a great character, and that you really touch the lives of all these other people that's outside your family. And I'm very proud of you for that. And I'm also very proud of you of the strength you've shown, what you've gone through in the last few years, and for you and Grace, to persevere is really inspiration for all of us, even for myself, as someone who's older. So I've learned a lot from you. Proud of you.
And I met Andrew through all of you guys early on in the school year at UCLA. It was my first year at school, and like Andrew, I was also from out of state, and everyone else seemed to know each other already, and I was having a hard time adjusting. And so, to me, Andrew made me feel more comfortable knowing there was also someone else that was going through the same thing that I was. And not only that, like in high school, nobody really was about their education, nobody really wanted to learn, and that was one of the things that I was seeking when I went to college. And what I found was, everyone was still not really caring about their classes. And as much as, neither of us really went to class, it was something that, our studies was something that we cared about. And so it was refreshing to have Andrew there to be in class with me. And we studied, and I remember after one of our physics finals, everyone wanted to just go home. And we were comparing answers, and we actually ended up arguing over the answers. And when we finally did leave, I thought to myself, that was really awesome of you to even take the time to argue with me, because no one else even cared at all. And engineering was still something I care passionately about, and I know that you continued on in that career as well. And it made me feel less alone when I was here, to know that there was someone else out there that cared about the same thing.
I got to know the Marks, I think, better after we all graduated, and I would go visit them while they were in Washington, and then, while they were in St. Helens, which was out in the boonies, and just seeing how they moved out there from LA and kind of took it in stride, even though there wasn't really much out there. I think I remember that, and then when they moved to their house later on, and I think probably what stands out to me is just whenever I go and talk to them, they would always ask me about my dating life and how that was going. And I think when I had my first breakup with my other boyfriend, I talked a lot with them about that, and they were always able to give me good perspective on just trusting God with that whole thing. And I think you continue to give me perspective on life, even just through your blog. I think this past week when I was reading through it, I don't know, it's just the way that you look at life and remember that there's more to life than just yourself. Because I think I get so focused in on that. And And so even though I didn't see you guys this summer, like you continue to do that, and just seeing how you guys live your life inspires me to love God more. And I also share your story with my friends who are not Christian, and it's amazing to them too. So, yeah.
She mentioned Sahoma, and I met Andrew and Grace both separately down here. And then I moved back to Seattle, that's where I'm originally from, and I got a call from someone and told me that they were living up there.